The film starts with video clips recorded by Carla Dyson of her baby boy Frankie. The clips go on over the years as Frankie gets older, with Carla enjoying every minute with him. In the present, Carla is a single mother that works as a waitress at a diner to support herself and Frankie. She has to deal with obnoxious customers while being short-staffed, including a family whose son whines about wanting hash browns, and a couple where the girlfriend is rude and impatient with Carla. Carla's boss says he has called another waitress to come help so she and Frankie can leave to spend the day together. Carla takes Frankie to the park. While he runs around the playground, they play Marco Polo. The two then sit down to watch a show in the park when Carla gets a phone call. She leaves Frankie on the bench with his recording toy. Carla talks to her lawyer, who tells her that her ex-husband wants full custody of Frankie. When Carla tries to argue against this, her call gets dropped. When she goes back to the bench, Frankie isn't there. Carla asks other parents if they have seen him while she goes around shouting Marco repeatedly. Carla then goes to the parking lot and sees a woman pulling a screaming Frankie into a green Ford Mustang. Carla runs to the car and clings to the side until she falls off, and her phone falls out of her bag. Carla hops in her minivan and chases after the other car. They ride through the parkway where the Mustang causes some accidents. Carla tries to alert other drivers to the incident once she realizes she's lost her phone. The woman then drops a toolbox on the road to get Carla off their tail. As Carla gets closer, the kidnappers roll down the window so the woman can hold Frankie at knife point, forcing Carla to take a different route. She continues to follow them off the parkway. She listens to the recording toy and hears the female kidnapper talking to Frankie, making him believe his mom was looking for him. The kidnapper says her name is Margot. Carla sees a police officer on a motorcycle and tries to get his attention by driving erratically. The officer rides up and tells Carla to pull over, but once he gets between Carla and the kidnappers, the villains pin the officer between both cars and cause him to crash his motorcycle in a ditch. The kidnappers pull over onto a grassy field, and Carla stops too. The male kidnapper, Terrence Vicky, steps out with his knife and runs toward Carla. She reverses her car until Terrence runs out of breath. Carla drives toward him as he runs, but she doesn't strike him. Carla offers him money in return for Frankie, but also promises she won't stop looking for her son as long as he is in the car. After Terrence runs back to the car, Margot goes to Carla's minivan and calmly tells her that she wants $10,000 in exchange for Frankie's safe return. She orders Carla to let her ride in the minivan so they can follow Terrence. Carla reluctantly lets Margot inside. Carla follows Terrence's car. As they go through a tunnel, Margot attacks Carla. Carla is able to fight her off and throw her out of the minivan. Carla takes Margot's jacket to give Terrence the impression she's still riding in the van. As Carla continues to follow, Terrence eventually figures that Margot is no longer with her, so he threatens to drop Frankie out of his car, forcing Carla to slow her pursuit. Carla loses Terrence's car for a while. She passes a family fishing and tells them to call the cops on a green Ford Mustang. She then spots an accident he caused that led to a traffic jam. She drives through the field and runs to the car, only to see that Terrence and Frankie are gone. One of the people in the accident tells Carla where Terrence was running off to with the boy. Carla runs to a nearby police station to report the kidnapping. The officer at the desk tells her to wait. Carla then sees pictures of other missing children, some of whom have been gone for over a decade. Carla worries Frankie will suffer the same fate, so she continues the search on her own. Carla goes by a parking lot and sees a black Volvo speeding out, realizing this is Terrence. She chases him until Terrence strikes a pedestrian. Another car almost hits this woman until Carla blocks the oncoming car with her own. She continues to chase after Terrence, but her car is running out of fuel. Carla then spots an authority vehicle on the road and tries to hitch a ride, only for Terrence to ram into the car, killing the other driver and knocking Carla unconscious. She scrambles to her feet, her vision still slightly blurred from the crash, and rushes toward the Volvo, hoping to find Frankie inside. Before she can process the situation, movement from the wreckage catches her attention. Terrence, injured but alive, emerges with a gun in hand. Without hesitation, he raises it and fires, forcing Carla to react. She turns and sprints back to her own car, yanking the door open just as Terrence lunges toward her. She jumps inside, gripping the steering wheel tightly as adrenaline surges through her veins. Terrence clings to the vehicle, trying to pull himself in. With no other option, Carla shifts into reverse and slams her foot on the gas. The car jolts backward at high speed, careening into the dense woods. Terrence holds on, but the uneven terrain makes it impossible to maintain his grip. Branches whip against his body, tearing through his clothes and skin. The car suddenly crashes into a tree, sending a violent jolt through Carla's body. Dazed but determined, she pushes the door open and stumbles toward Terrence. He lies on the ground, bleeding heavily. Her hands shake as she rifles through his pockets. She pulls out his wallet and flips through its contents. She finds an address. The address leads her to a quiet house on the outskirts of town, its exterior unassuming. But inside, she knows danger lurks. As she cautiously steps inside, the interior reflects chaos. Furniture pushed aside, scattered belongings, and an unsettling sense of neglect. Framed photographs catch her attention, showing Terrence alongside a woman. The familiarity in her face confirms what Carla suspected. This is Margot, the woman from the park who had taken Frankie. She moves carefully, avoiding creaking floorboards, listening intently. From another room, muffled voices break the silence. Margot is on the phone, her tone sharp, filled with irritation and urgency. Carla remains still, her breath shallow as she listens. The conversation reveals the terrifying truth. Frankie's abduction is part of something much larger, and Carla's relentless pursuit has made her a threat. Moments later, the front door swings open, and Margot steps out, locking the door behind her. Carla watches from the shadows, waiting until she's gone before moving. With shaking hands, she pulls out her phone and dials emergency services. The operator assures her that police units are being dispatched, estimating their arrival in 7 to 15 minutes. Carla knows she may not have that long. Her pulse races as she scans the house, searching for any sign of Frankie. Every second counts. She makes her way back to the barn. The barn is silent except for the faint rustling of movement. Her heart pounds as she scans the dimly lit interior. The barn door swings open. A man steps inside, holding a shotgun. Carla tenses. The man, Dell, is a neighbor, someone who looks rugged but familiar with the area. His expression is stern yet calm as he surveys the scene. Carla immediately tells him about Terrence and Margot, explaining the horrors they committed. She pleads for his help, but his reaction is unsettlingly neutral. He doesn't show the shock or urgency she expects. Instead, he hesitates, then calls out toward the captives, referencing them in a way that makes Carla freeze. A realization crashes over her. She never mentioned the children were girls. He knew. Without being told, he knew exactly who they were. The pieces fall into place and her blood runs cold. Dell is involved. Adrenaline takes over. Before he can react, Carla grabs a nearby shovel and swings it with all her strength. The metal blade smashes into his face, sending him staggering backward, the force of the impact knocking him off his feet. He collapses to the ground, unmoving. Breathing hard, Carla wastes no time. She rushes to the children, untying them and guiding them out of the barn. The cool night air greets them as the distant sound of sirens grows louder. Within moments, police vehicles flood the property, flashing lights illuminating the dark landscape. Officers emerge, weapons drawn, scanning the area before moving in. As Carla stands with the rescued children, a deep sense of relief washes over her. Frankie is safe. The other children are safe. She had fought with everything she had, and in doing so, she had saved not just her son, but countless others who might have never been found. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.